Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Tessapanya of the Sons of Yasha Alakim out here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. First and foremost, giving all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Pahasham, Racha, Hakwadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, people ignorantly called Jehovah or God. Yahweh Shai being the name of the only begotten Son, who people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Racha, Hakwadash, the Holy Spirit. All right. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the hopeful elect out there, the house of David, 144,000, the governing body in the kingdom of Yahweh Shai, as well as the 1/3 of men, women, and children, not only hearers of the word, but doers of the word. Okay? This is going to be I'm going to try to make it as quick as I can, but I'm going to let the spirit, flow, not quench it. And as you can see, the topic, it says a wicked and sinful generation. Now, this lesson, this sermon, was inspired by, I had a conversation, with my moms, and the spirit just basically told me that this is the generation, of that is going to see Yahweh Shad, man. This generation that we in right now. Hey, shalom, shalom. To anybody tuning in. We in a time so now that wickedness is so far-fetched and expound upon the earth, man. There's nothing else but for Yahweh Shah to come back. In the book of Revelation, it says that, matter of fact, let's get that. Let's get that, because this is the whole point, getting to the scripts. Hey, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 5. For her sins, who's hers? Talking about the great whore that rideth the beach. The beast, Salakia. The beast is NATO. The great whore is Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon is America. Okay? For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. You see? So this place that we in the valley of the shadow of death, America, United States of America, all right, she has added sin upon sin, and it has literally reached unto, metaphorically speaking, the spiritual realm. Heaven is my throne, earth is my footstool, right? So in a symbolic, poetical understanding, there's so much sins going on in America, all right? It has filled the whole earth, and what's got to happen? The Most High's got to destroy it, all right, with the second death. This is why Yahweh Shai said that as in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be, right? So let's go to Genesis just to prove the statement that I just made. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 5. And Yahweh saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. You see? Jumping down to verse 13, and God said, Yahweh said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, For the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. You see? So I like that, through the Spirit to have me bring that up because the earth is filled with violence. We literally talking people killing each other. And what's the trending news that's going on right now? This Roe versus Wade, man. You know, and destroying the fruit of the womb is violent unto the Most High, man. And so, like I said in the beginning of the video, this video was inspired by me talking to my mother because the older generation is different than our generation. And my mother's not that old. She was born in, what, 66? Okay? And, my mother, she's not necessarily, practicing the truth, so to speak, but she knows that, she's a Hebrew, man. She made a joke today, asked her what I was doing, and she was like, man, working like a Hebrew slave. And I laughed because I've heard that so many times, you know, before the truth and in the truth. And I told her, I'm like, yo, we all Hebrew slaves. And she laughed and she kind of kept it moving, right? So, because she don't want to, because you know how I am. But anyway, the whole point of, and then I don't know how I even got to that point, but I was like, yo, like Christians, specifically Christian women, are the main supporters of LGBTQ and women/abortion rights, you know? And I'm like, yo, man, how does that? And then she was like, nah, because people that she go with, let's say the church, the Harlot House and this and that and the third, they not rocking with it. People of her age. So you even got, your so-called Christians then, that older generation, some of them in relativity to, my generation, they not rocking with it. But she was like, yo, well, your generation, they the ones that seem to be, because of the whole cancel culture. You see? So it's like people are afraid to speak their mind according to their beliefs because of their job, work, finances, so on and so forth. They're afraid to speak out. This is why the prophets on the street corners, all right, the highways and the hedges, are presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice and are doing what the prophets are supposed to be doing. Because they are basically holding fast, even if it's death, man, because they know that the servant isn't greater than the master. So they're willing to be persecuted for this truth. Yahweh Shah said, blessed is he who was, persecuted for my name, roughly paraphrasing. What is that, Matthew chapter 5? You know? So the main point is that this is a wicked and adulterous generation, man. All right? Wicked and what? Sinful. Adulterous and sinful. Sinful, Salaki. Sin is what? According to the scriptures. First John, it says that sin is a transgression of the law, man. So these people don't want to come back to the true nationality, all right, and really rehearse the righteous acts to the best of their ability, man. Keep establishing the law, right? And then adulterous, when you go into that word adultery, it's a man who has intercourse with another man's wife, right? But it's talking in the spirit because the carnal man discerneth not the things of the spirit. You know, it's worshiping other gods, all right? Because Israel is likened unto a woman that is a wife of her spiritual husband, which would be Yahweh, the creator of all things, the father of spirits. Okay? So, by dealing with, other women in the spirit, is you going off, you committing adultery spiritually. So when Yahweh Shah said, matter of fact, let's get into it. It's the book of Mark, chapter 8. I'm going to start at verse 35, but the point is in verse 38. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. You see, if I'm talking about this Roe v. Wade, and it really, especially like with the Christian women, because they're the ones that supports, which is an oxymoron. Y'all want high value men and things of that nature, but then you continue to allow and support and defend specifically a homosexual man of your nation, which makes no sense because they're causing competition for you, you know. But a woman, when you go into the statistics, all right, because they always like to use the excuse for rape and incest. One of the Akim on Shapar, he posted the statistics, the data that is relevant and accurate to modern times of the reasonings for why women get abortions. All right. And I think it was 60-70% is they don't want to disclose the reason. But the point, race and incest, one of them was 0.87 and the other one was like 0.009. All right. Of all abortions have to deal with rape and incest. And then there was like 20, 30, almost 30% that deals with financial reasonings. All right. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasonings why people didn't want to bring it out. Or, on the box when you're doing all of the records and all of that. When you go to doctors, remember, you got to do a lot of paperwork and all of that. All right. So women specifically are trying to save their life because their life is traveling, riding the CC, right? Dealing with whoever, not thinking of consequences, finishing college. And the only reason they want to go through college is because they want to be able to be independent, from a man, from, their parents, make their own money, because they can use that money as a tool to please the flesh. You see? Because in this society, for some reason, you have a child, it's like you're losing your life, like you lost something when you actually gain something. All right. And that just means the lack of femininity, right? Because there's an increase of masculinity in women and an increase of femininity in men. All right. So it goes on to say, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake, you see? So the Israelites, specifically the elect, all right, those that are feeding his sheep as commanded to do so, they're willing to lose their life because they know through prophecy some of them are going to be cast into prison. Some of them going to be martyrs for this truth. All right. There's serving the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. There's going to be a lot of hell that comes on, upon them. You feel me? Really to test them and try them. And not too many people's going to want to do that, but they're doing it for Yahweh namesake. See, and it says, and the gospels and the good news, the same shall save it. See, that's how you save your life, man. Verse 36, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? You see? So in this understanding, all right, people are willing to give up a whole child, their own child, right? For their soul, man. You know, and so it's like a soul for a soul. You want to sacrifice that soul, you basically sacrificing yourself, man. All right. If you don't repent, I'll add that in there. All right. So this is the point. Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation. All right. So they're worshiping other gods and they not keeping the law. And adultery is not committing adultery, right, is part of the law, and having no other, gods before him is part of the law. Of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed. See, so if you, especially as a man, if you're not willing to speak out against, something that you wouldn't even do, right? You want to deal with no man, sleeping no man as with a woman, right? You know it's wrong, but you sitting here because of cancel culture or how you feel, women will look at you or other men will look at you or your bosses and this and that and the third. You see what I'm saying? You're ashamed of the gospel. You're ashamed of Yahweh Shai because that's part of his gospel, which is what? Keeping his commandments. All right? Presenting through his blood repentance unto his people, which are the Israelites. All right? Of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. What's the glory of his Father with the holy angels? All right, is what these people call the alien invasion, man. All right, which is really going to be Yahweh Shai with the chariots of Israel, which is the angels' spiritual vehicles, man. Who Esau Edom calls UAPs or UFOs. All right, supernatural power, spiritual power that is going to trump on all ends the technology and the wisdom of this world, man. All right, because World War III, you know, and the finalization of that is prophesied in the scriptures, which will happen. Thermonuclear missiles will come. Yahushua will come. All right, and there's going to be a total takeover. Okay, and Daniel says, "For the saints shall take the kingdom forever and ever." All right, spearheaded by Yahweh Shai. All right, King David and the rest of the 144,000. All right, so I'm gonna pretty much leave it right there. You know what I mean? But you know, as we could see, this is a bunch of, like, especially if in tune with the little trends, let's say shade room and things of that nature. You know what I mean? This big Queen of Heaven worship. This is big Molech worship because that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Back in the day, in the ancient world, for the fertility gods, they would create this ox head, so to speak, with hands made of full gold and have a fire under it and heat up the hands to where it's burning, scalding hot. And they would have these babies and sacrifice these babies unto this god in order for riches. You see what I'm saying? Because, if that's another mouth to feed. You see what I'm saying? So when these people don't have faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai to provide for them as their power, this is why Yahweh Shai goes on and says, why do you worry about clothes and food? Doesn't he clothe the lilies? Doesn't he feed, the birds, the fowls of the air, roughly paraphrasing? And aren't you greater than these? Right? And they don't do nothing. The Most High knoweth what his servants, his people need, man. All right? So yeah, we put in work. We don't just sit there, meaning, we show our faith by our works. We're not saved by our works, but we have full belief that if we do what he says, he's going to reward us. Because the scriptures say, be not deceived, for Yahweh is not mocked. For whatever man shall sow, he shall reap. This is where the Elamites, right, with the Hindu religion, get the term karma. All right, which is real. And same thing with reincarnation, which is biblically sound. But they twisted it because the Most High is not dealing with them, and they think karma can come in, a different type of way than the scriptures, or reincarnation could come in as another gender, as an animal, as a tree. Or, no, all right, come in through your tribe, or you could come into your nation, but most likely your tribe in the same gender. You're gonna have the same spirit that you did in your past lives, man. And you're going through or being recompensed through this life of what you did in the past life. And I shall judge the sons by the sins of their fathers unto the third and fourth generation. How do you think that's possible? All right. You think you're gonna do something? You're gonna deal with something that somebody else did? You see what I'm saying? Ezekiel says every man shall die by their own sin, because the people were saying the proverb, the father has eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth are blunted. It was a proverb, right? So they was basically saying the Most High's ways is not fair. But he said, my ways are not fair. Aren't your ways not fair? You know what I mean? Because we are men that lie. Our people said that we're going to keep these commandments, and what we do, not kept the commandments. He said he's going to keep his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. What has he done? He's kept his covenant, and he's going to prove it. All right. Hence, Yahweh Shah coming back, destroying this place, and putting his elect on top. When the wicked rule, the people mourn, but when the righteous rule, people rejoice, man. And the whole world is mourning, waiting for a righteous rulership, man. But they don't really know how to do it because it's not for them to be in rulership, specifically talking about these Edomites. They don't have a law that is wisdom and a light, you see what I'm saying, in order to put things aright. But the Israelites was given that, you see, because we're the gods, kings, priests, lords of the earth, man, the sons of the living power. And it's going to be proven through prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, which is what? The testimony of Yahweh Shai. And that's what we're supposed to be having. All right. So the testimony is another word for witness. All right. We're witnessing that the Most High, the Lord, is dealing with us. And it's through that, through speaking prophecies that was given unto us as written in these scriptures, is how we're being a witness unto all nations, all right, of who he's dealing with, who his people are. All right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But as everybody can see, man, this is a wicked, an adulterous, and sinful generation, man. And this generation is going to be the generation that sheens Yahweh Shai, man. We're at the end of this thing. Everybody can see it. They not might want to accept it or say it, but there's people out there that is lifting up their voice like a trumpet and crying aloud and showing their people, Jacob, their sins. All right. So Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. All right. With that, I say Abba Babal, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.